Okay, everybody, let's take it from the top.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to D Plus Us. I'm not a happy camper this week. This week has been torture. This is a horrible movie. I'm not excited. That's Mitch. He's here. He's my co-host. I'm
Just
already
starting off with
angry.
all the right energy. I'm here for it.
I'm already upset. I haven't even started
You're just
talking
upset
about
that
this.
you had to hit record.
I haven't even talked about this stupid, terrible movie, and I'm already angry.
All right.
Okay.
Let them know what's up, Griffin.
What's up, folks? Welcome back to the podcast. This is D Plus Us, the show about all things Disney. I'm Griffin. That's Mitch.
Okay.
There's the
Griffin has
actual
been
rigmarole.
talking. Yeah, you can catch us on all the podcast services bi-weekly doing a regular talk about a thing that we want to talk about. And
I'll hit the actual housekeeping. I'll be good about doing the housekeeping, and then I'm going back to being angry.
Okay, fine. You do the housekeeping because you have it down, and then I'll lead you through being angry. It's fine.
Thank you very much. Okay, so first off, folks, thank you for tuning in and listening. Hey, do you like a podcast? Did you know we have a YouTube version where you can see our lovely faces and see me get very, very annoyed during this episode? Also, we have a weekly show where we're currently talking about Behind the Attraction, but based on when this is coming out, we will be talking about the brand new, hopefully good, seems to be good based off of what people are already saying, Percy
Early
Jackson and the
reactions are
Olympians series,
Yeah.
which I'm very excited
I was
for.
gonna say, if you don't go to YouTube, you don't get to see my beard. I'm very proud of my beard. So
And you don't get to see my lack
Tell
of
me how
beard.
good my beard looks.
I need a shave, actually.
This is the longest I've ever had it.
Got that out of the way. New video essay coming soon in the new year. Go follow us on TikTok.
Yeah, so new weeklies, Percy Jackson. Next episode, What If season 2, probably.
What is season 2? I mentioned this at the end of one of our more recent episodes. We are going to do a Treasure Planet episode. I'm willing that into existence. I just don't remember.
It was
where I
going to
said
be
it.
this episode, and Griffin has been spending the last year and a half hyping up this damn Percy Jackson show like it's going to be the next coming of Christ.
And it's going to be.
And I hope it is,
Let me
because
find-
those books are really good, and I really enjoyed those books when I was younger. But I get a text like
I'm looking for the message.
3 or 4 days ago from Griffin just being like, "Oh no, what's wrong, Griffin?"
Yeah, I
Percy
messaged
Jackson's
you
coming
at
out.
3:20 p.m. I just realized what our next episode of the podcast has to be. It's the dog shit Percy Jackson movie.
You weren't wrong, and here we are,
So I'm pissed. I'm going to go back to being annoyed.
as you should.
This movie sucks. I hate this movie with a fiery passion. It's not nearly as bad as Sea of Monsters. The cast is surprisingly brilliant, and they do the best they can with what this movie is. And there are a couple of tiny, tiny little things that I fucking love out of this movie. But 90% of this movie just upsets me on a spiritual level.
The thing I'm most looking forward to is when Percy Jackson and the Olympians gets renewed for a season 2. It will cover the plot of Sea of Monsters, and we will have to review that movie, which if this is like a 3, that's a negative 3,000, and it's going to be a great time. But we're not here to talk about that today. We're here to talk about Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the Lightning Thief.
If we do that movie, you have to host that episode.
You won't even be here. You'll just be protesting at that point.
What we'll do is it's going to still be the two of us, but it's just going to be you and then my empty chair.
Yeah, that seems fair. So we're looking at Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief from 2010.
Yeah, directed by Chris Columbus. Screenplay by
Known
Craig.
for having directed some Harry Potter thing at some point, probably.
Worth noting that the screenplay is by Craig Titley, whose works include Cheaper by the Dozen and Scooby-Doo. Starring Logan Lerman,
2 great movies.
Alexander Daddario, Brandon T. Jackson, Sean Bean, and Pierce Brosnan are also in this, which feels important
Steve
to mention.
Coogan, Uma Thurman, like this thing got a cast.
Yeah, but you know who they don't have? Fucking Dionysus, one of the most basic characters I have in Percy Jackson. I'm getting ahead of myself. I am sorry.
Just a little bit.
This runtime of 119 minutes, released in the United States on February 12th, 2010. Released in Canada 10 days earlier for some reason.
Go Canada. Woo!
A budget of
We
$95 million and a box office of $226.4 million.
Not bad.
And the movie fucking sucks. This movie takes... I'm just jumping right into it. This movie takes everything wonderful about Percy Jackson. It's like, okay, what if we just turn that into a nonsense action movie that has no important plot points and ignores almost the entirety of the source material? You know that entire Hydra fight? Not a thing. Not a thing in a Lightning Thief. He does fight a Hydra, not there. You know, everything, this whole like, oh, we're going to skip town on Camp Half-Blood and sneak out and go save Mom. Not a thing.
Nope.
Oh, we're going to have this big final fight with Luke. Not a thing.
Not a thing.
Oh, we're going to pretend that the kids have like some sort of respect and love for their godly parents. That's the entire point, is that they don't.
Yeah. They're abandoned kids stuck at this camp and not like... Just think about like, if you've read these books or have any idea of the source material, like Percy's a pretty messed up character. It's Percy Jackson. I'll try to keep
I'm not. Percy Jackson is a little shit.
Yeah, he's fucked. Like he has no, sense of authority, and he's got these issues that they explain away as being root causes of him being a demigod. He has dyslexia because he's supposed to read ancient Greece and not ancient. And
okay,
not,
the dyslexia and the ADHD
English.
thing is legitimately like a thing for the books. But
well, no, I mean, sorry, the dyslexia thing is a thing in the books, and it's just like, yeah, I mean, these kids are messed up, and all of those things that their parents caused for them messes them up, but they just kind of hand waved away here. They don't dig into it, which I really hope the series digs into.
It is the bread and butter of the Percy Jackson series. The gods are fucking horrible, and they don't care about their children. Even the freaking Percy Jackson musical, which is a fantastic musical.
There's a musical?
Yeah, there's a musical. That was written by Rick Riordan and his wife.
I'm looking ahead. Rick Riordan has writing credits on Sea of Monsters. You know that, right?
I think he technically has writing credits on this one as well.
Does he? I guess from the source material.
Yeah, Rick Riordan has gone on the record saying how much he hates these movies. Why did we age up our characters?
Is the writer of the novels.
Why did we age up these characters so that just people can ogle famous actors? It's fucking creepy.
This was supposed to be like the jumping off point to Logan Lerman's career of like, oh, he's going to be the head of this new young adult fantasy series. It's going to be the next Twilight or something like that. And just like, nah.
Logan Lerman is great. Like, I legitimately
he's a
love
fantastic actor.
And like Alexandra Daddario, also fantastic.
Oh, dude, White Lotus. If you have not watched White Lotus, she's bonkers good in that show. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, Brandon T. Jackson is also fine in this. I just don't know anything else that he's ever been in except for Tropic Thunder.
I was going to say, he was in at least one thing, because you can never forget Al Pacino in Tropic Thunder.
I cannot. But yeah, so much of this movie like just strips away a lot of the things that I really love about Percy Jackson, like the reason that they're all badasses, like they train, they work for this. This movie very much does the Western hero thing of, oh, this main hero is just naturally a gifted hero, and we don't ever have to worry about any of that. No, the badass of the main three in the books is Annabeth. Annabeth is the badass and always will be, and they show it for just a little bit with a weapon that isn't even her main weapon.
I mean, that's not as big of a deal, I think, like if they're taking some creative concessions there, because you got to think like there are certain things that translate well or better to the screen than others. Maybe, she just didn't stage test well with Annabeth's traditional weapons.
That's fair, but except for that fact that she does use a dagger for the rest of the movie.
That's also true.
The thing that upsets me there are two things that upset me the most. One is Riptide, is the actual sword itself. It is such a tiny little thing, but it is one of those things that means the world to Percy Jackson fans, of making it a click pen versus a cap pen. It is such a tiny little detail, but it is legitimately super, super important. Because it's supposed to just be, it's like a fucking shitty Bic pen. It is supposed to be horrible. They don't talk about any of the magic behind the actual sword itself, other than it's a pen that turns into a sword.
It's a magic sword, yeah.
Like, we don't address any of that. And then the other thing for me is that they just... sorry, I'll let you go.
I was going to say the bigger problem I have with the click pen versus the cap pen is if that thing is in your pocket, you are far more likely to click the pen than you are to uncap the pen. From a safety perspective, you're handing this kid a sword that if he sits down the wrong way on the bus is going to stab himself in the butt. Like, that's just not right. Like,
it's so easy to hurt yourself with that thing. But again, they never talk about how it just magically shows up in his pocket. That's just not a thing in this movie. The other thing that really hurts me in this movie that they do is how they treat Sally Jackson. Sally Jackson is a badass. Sally Jackson, if she wanted to, could command the entirety of Camp Half-Blood on a whim to do whatever she desires. Everybody loves her. She is easily the strongest character, like mentally and emotionally, in the entirety of this franchise. And they kind of just do away with her. In the original book, there's this great moment right before the monsters show up where Sally takes Percy to the beach where she met his dad. And it's like where they go every summer, and they have a wonderful conversation there. It's a fantastic scene in the musical. Like, this is something that really needs to be in this story. And it's just nowhere to be found here. Sally's kind of just there and is ultimately a MacGuffin in this movie. It is wildly frustrating that you took such a powerful character like that and just did away with her. And she is far from the only character they do that to. There are so many characters that I consider core to the Lightning Thief, core to who Percy is, that just aren't in here. Mr. D, Dionysus, not in this movie. Nancy Boba Fett, who is Percy's bully at school, the reason that all of this kicks off in the first place. Just not in this movie. The best scene in the entirety of the books, where Percy and Annabeth have their moment to actually connect. Just not in the book, or not in the movie. Like, they took all of this amazing, amazing stuff, this really great character building that set up this fantastic franchise that, to me, is the best young adult, magical, however you want to describe it, franchise.
Yeah.
And it's just not anywhere to be seen in this movie.
Again, I don't think that film was the right medium for, like, even today, I don't think that feature-length films are the right place to adapt novels, series, even comic books, graphic novels. I don't think it's the right spot because there is so much substance to a lot of this source material that gets lost in translation. I do think having this new Percy Jackson and the Olympians be a series, be something that is being written by and adapted by, and the screenplays are from the author. I think that's going to be really important. I do think they're going to get this right because they'll have the time they need to adapt it appropriately and not miss out on a lot of these details that you and other fans, myself included, although I have not read these books since I was like 13.
I reread, so peek behind the curtain, folks. We were supposed to record this episode yesterday, but both of us had very long weeks, so we didn't.
Look, we both work in IT. The holidays are coming up, and everybody is gone.
Which reminds me, I got some stuff I gotta tell you off camera.
Oh, dude.
Because what I told you from last time, it got worse.
Of course it has.
The thing about this movie... Where was I going? I was going with something important. Oh, the thing I was going about the book, or with the show. I needed one thing from them to understand that they would be doing this right. All I needed was a bright orange shirt. That is all I needed. The Camp Half-Blood shirt. That's all you need. Guess what's nowhere near this movie?
Anything
related to Camp Half-Blood.
Again, this movie came out in 2010. So you're just coming off of like the Fox superhero world where everything was like black leather, everything is dark and muted. Even looking at some of the Disney films from the time, I want to say that The Sorcerer's Apprentice came out around this time, and I feel like this has a very similar vibe to that movie, where everything is just kind of like muted.
I am so happy you said that, because I was watching this movie, and I was thinking, I was like, man, The Sorcerer's Apprentice was so much more fun than this.
It really was. And they came out the same year. I fucking called it.
You were totally right, because they have the exact same vibe.
They have the same vibe.
Man,
Like,
I wanted
movies
to
of
the
that
Sorcerer's Apprentice.
have aged about the same, where they're not good and they all look the same.
Except we hate
which is
this
why
one
this is an
more and
entirely
more and more.
forgettable film.
Let's talk about. There's so many things to talk about. Let's talk about Grover for a second, because hey, guess what? Grover has a fantastic character growth in the book. Guess what's just not fucking there?
You get a little bit. Actually, no, you really don't. He's just kind of one tone of like, I'm your protector. I'm going to protect you. I must protect you at all costs.
Meanwhile, in the book and also in the musical, which I will keep mentioning until you listen to it, Mitch.
I'll find it on YouTube if I can.
You really should just listen to the soundtrack because it is fire. But no, like Grover
I'm
has
pulling
this,
up Apple Music. You keep venting.
Grover has this fantastic storyline of his own where it is he failed to protect somebody and has been grieving it for years, and
I forgot
has to
about
protect
that.
Percy, and Percy is his redemption for it. Because who was the last person he failed to protect? The daughter of Zeus. And that is why the tree exists. Tree, not in the movie. Oracles, not in the movie. So much of this movie, it pisses me off.
The law, like the pact between the brothers, not in this movie.
Yeah, they changed it to a law that none of the gods can see their mortal children, which is not what the rule was. The rule was
No, the
only
rule was
that
because of Zeus's daughter's death that the three brothers, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, would bear no heirs.
yeah, it was that, and it was because of a prophecy.
Yeah. Which they probably didn't get into because they didn't know they were going to get a sequel. And then they got a sequel like, fuck, we got to write another movie. Let's not do that and instead have a really bad CG Cyclops face superimposed on a dude.
I hope they do Tyson well in the show, because Tyson's such a great character. Yeah, so much about this movie is like literally just like looking at the plot upsets me. One of the other ones is like,
what plot?
yeah, like the plot of this movie is them finding Persephone's pearls, so that they can go to the underworld. Guess what? That is not a thing. Like the pearls are a thing, but they get them like right before they go to hell, or like hell is not the Hollywood sign in the books. Hell is DOA Records or DOA Recording Studio.
Yeah, I feel like don't they have to get the pearls from one of the gods? Like
They get the pearls from a spirit.
From a spirit.
That is in a river that Percy talks to.
Right. I'm still curious how all of this gets adapted because like they've announced characters for the show. Assuming season 1 they've said is an adaptation of that first book. Hermes isn't in the first book. I don't even remember if Ares was. So like
Ares was. That's one of my other major issues with this.
Okay.
Ares is the main villain of the Lightning Thief.
Yeah.
Ares is the Lightning Thief. Ares steals the lightning bolt and steals Hades' Helm of Darkness to try to get these two to battle. And then accidentally causes Zeus to be really pissed at Poseidon. And it all kind of spirals out of control. And Luke just kind of takes advantage of it for Kronos. Again, not in this movie. So that he can usher the lightning bolt down to Kronos.
Like Kronos isn't in the book either. I like it's one of those things that gets explored in the later books, right? Like he ends up being the main villain of the first series of
they
books.
reveal the Kronos stuff at the very end of the book. Of
the first book? I didn't think it was that early.
They don't like outright say it, but it's one of those things of it's like, oh, Luke is working for a higher power.
Yeah,
who could possibly
that's what I meant.
be.
Yeah, like we know he's working for somebody. We don't know who it is until later on.
Is he working for somebody in this movie? No, he's just pissed. He's just a brat. He's just having a temper tantrum.
He just doesn't like the gods because his daddy issues.
Which, guess what? If you're a demigod, daddy or mommy issues is kind of a prerequisite.
But also in this world, his dad is Nathan Fillion. So like, I get it. Nathan Fillion has better things to do than to deal with this little shit.
Right? Weird cameo by Nathan Fillion, but
we'll get to it when we get to season 2.
but yeah, like looking at what's going to happen next time, like in what we've talked about for the show, is that it's very much supposed to be here is an ideal version of it. Let's fix some of the issues that we had with it in the past of like some of the more concerning natures that like Rick has even said, like, yeah, looking back, that was not a good decision. I didn't like that. We're going to change that.
Yeah, I agree with taking some, because like this is something based, like it's now based on a book that is 18 years old, and I feel fucking old saying that. And I just killed Griffin inside. You can't, if you're not watching, you
feel-
didn't see his soul just crumble.
I felt myself just like turn to dust.
This book came out in 2005, Griffin. So you're taking something that was written probably 20 years ago, published 18 years ago, or yeah, there's going to be concerns, or there's going to be things that as a creator going back, like it's the George Lucas effect, right? When he had the chance, when the original trilogy came out on digital, he went in and added a whole bunch of CGI that no one really liked. This is a different take on that, where now Rick gets carte blanche to say, this is the story that I told. These are the changes I need to make to it, or characters I would have liked to have seen earlier in that story to make it make more sense for television or for the screen as opposed to books.
We're going to take a step out of Disney for a second and pop over to HBO Max for just a second. This is exactly what they did with the Last of Us TV series, where they took the bits and pieces from the game that were largely... The show is largely faithful to the game, except for a couple of major things that enhance the story significantly. That is likely what they will be doing here
for film versus game. In that
so
case.
stuff
it adapts it appropriately to the medium.
Like Herbie's, frankly, probably should be in the Lightning Thief with the discussions between Luke being Percy's mentor and whatnot, and yada yada yada. Plus, it seems like he's going to end up in the Lotus Casino, which would be just awesome.
That tracks for Hermes.
Yeah, it also tracks for Lin-Manuel Miranda. But speaking of, I do want to give the flowers where the flowers are due for this movie, which is the Lotus Casino. Yes, that was entirely a pun, Mitch. Feel bad.
Yeah, I honestly didn't love that, because it's like, I get you're aging these characters up, but like, they're not 21.
That's not. Yeah, that part's frustrating.
Or 18, I guess.
The Lotus Hotel and Casino in the book, it's a lot more video games and roller coasters.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, this
whatnot.
felt kind of dirty of it being like a legit feeling casino, like having been to Vegas in the last couple of years. I'm like, oh yeah, this tracks. Like,
all that said,
they're supposed to be 16.
All that said, Poker Face for this montage is perfect. I have no notes on that.
No, I mean, that was fine, especially for the times.
I legit love that still.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. So in the U.S., do you have to be legal drinking age to enter a casino, or just of legal age to gamble?
I don't actually know.
I imagine it's legal drinking age because of how readily they just offer people booze. But
yeah, I actually don't know. I've never actually been to Vegas.
Because like up here, it's 18, right, to gamble or to go into a casino. So I don't know if it's the same.
Because all the casinos, the only casino I've ever been to is on a Native American reservation, which has different rules.
Yeah.
So I don't actually.
What I'm hearing is we have to go to Vegas at some point.
I really don't want to go to Vegas.
Honestly, it's a lot of fun, even if you're not like into gambling and stuff, like just the shows and the theatrics of it, or if you're into sports. They're getting a baseball team now.
I mean,
too,
I want to go ride
hockey,
that. I want to go out there and ride that.
Blast,
I want to ride that like indoor roller coaster in that one hotel.
New York.
Yeah, just to say I've done it, but that's really it.
I really wouldn't do that. That's the one thing I did. I refuse to do.
Look, I have a death wish. We all know this. Let's bring it back to Percy Jackson.
4-hour drive from Vegas to Disneyland. I'm just saying.
You raise a fair point. Yeah, looking at some other stuff. Everything in the underworld sucks. On this. Hades is so.
Except Rosario Dawson. Rosario Dawson's great.
Yeah, she's fine. Hades
probably the best. Like, at least from my perspective, the most accurate portrayal based on what was in the book.
Yeah.
Or just thirsty and hates Hades.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah. That's Persephone in a nutshell. Even when it's not. Everyone, go listen to Hades Town.
I should go see that.
You really should.
I just missed it.
Mm-hmm. Looking at some other stuff. Yeah, everything with Hades in Hell, I dislike. Taking the Helm of Darkness out of this is really frustrating to me. They took a bunch of the awesome monsters out of this as well. Like, the Hellhounds were so much more important in the book than they are
Ares.
here. Well, like
Ares.
a hellhound is what sets off the quest and whatnot. Yeah. Oh, there's the other thing. From day one, everyone knows that Percy is a son of Poseidon. Not a thing.
No.
In fact, it's very much an issue in the books that gods will not claim their children.
Yeah. And they all end up in, was it Cabin 13, where it's
Yeah,
just
the
all the
Apollo cabin.
unclaimed gods,
Or sorry, the Hermes cabin.
unclaimed children. That's how he ends up befriending Luke. And then I think it's during those trials is when they discover his water-based abilities, which is so weird in this movie of just like, I'm almost dead, but I touched
can
water
heal.
and now I am alive. Like,
Yeah, so
what the
how
hell?
it goes in the original, also Luke and Annabeth's relationship just not existed, is they are doing their capture the flag match, which is a much bigger deal than they show it as here.
Again, it's a movie. They have to limit the scope.
Percy is essentially put on the back lines because he's brand new. He doesn't actually really participate much in it. He is sent back to protect the flag and ends up fighting Clarice, the daughter of Ares. Amongst all of this fighting, Luke, unknowing to everyone else, summons a hellhound that attacks Percy and kind of just sets everything off. At that point is when Percy gets claimed by Poseidon and just like throws a bunch of toilet water at the hellhound and at the daughter of Ares. I think it's just at Clarice. I don't think the hellhound is involved there, but it's this massive moment of like, oh shit! But it's in the funniest young adult way possible. Of how are we going to teach him that he has water powers? Let's have him throw toilet water. Like, there's a level of humor that is so necessary for these books because they're young adult and for this story. And this is very much that early 2000s bullshit action movie thing of, no, the humor cannot be that. The humor has to be about, like, horniness. And that's really it in this movie.
Yeah, and there isn't a lot of depth to anything that goes on here, which is unfortunate because there's a lot to dig into in the books that they just don't hear, seemingly because they had to fit into the mold of what a young adult superhero-y blockbuster was back in the 2010s.
But hey, Percy is relatable because he hates school.
I mean, I get that. Actually, I don't. I really like school. I actually miss being a student and learning.
That's the thing about Percy.
A bunch of adults that I have to treat like children.
Same. That's the thing about Percy is like Percy didn't love school. He liked school as much as any 16-year-old did, at least from my interpretation of reading it. It was just that his dyslexia and ADHD made it really fucking hard. And he was bullied as well, which makes it really fucking hard. The only class that he loved, which again, we don't see any of this in the movie, was his class with Mr. Brunner. Which I thought he was a history teacher. He wasn't a Latin teacher.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have the summary of the book up because, again,
it's better.
Yeah. Also, I've read this book so many times that parts of it kind of start to like flow together.
Yeah, I wonder if I have my copies here, if they're at my parents' house.
See,
You go through your thoughts, and I'm gonna go see if my copies of the books are here. Because now I just kind of want to go read this book before the movie.
See, I have them all digitally. I did just pre-order the box set though, so I'm super excited about that.
I'll be back in 1 second. Have fun.
When we talk about the books. Yeah, I lost my copies of these books long ago for many moves as a child and then as an adult. So I did have to rebuy the box set, which is great because I wanted to reread them going into the show, which I have already done. Finished the first one this morning. But yeah, there's so much about this goddamn movie. Like Mr. Brunner and just in general eventually becoming Chiron. Like Chiron is so much more of a caretaker than he is in this movie. There's so much interesting stuff with Luke. There's so much interesting stuff with Zeus and like everything with the flying winged Converse. Like that's just, he gives those to Grover because the son of Poseidon should not be in the fucking sky. Like it is basic shit. It is just not in the movie. It's such a like basic ass shit. Mitch, one of the best memeable things about the entirety of the Percy Jackson series. Oh my god, there's the cover that I had. The one of the best memes of that book is just not in this movie, and it's the arch. The arch is just not in this movie. So much of this can be boiled down to like just why? Just why? Like Camp Half Blood isn't even really a summer camp in this movie. Now you're gonna reread the book now?
I don't know if I'll have enough time to do it between now and Wednesday, but I kind of want to.
It is a very quick read.
I was gonna say it's young adult, right? So it's not like it's a.
Like I fly through this book in a day.
Yeah, I figured I could do the same. I got a bunch of stuff I got to do tomorrow.
Because that's one of those things about this book that, like, even now, like once I start reading it, it's really hard to put down.
Yeah, it's only 375 pages.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
So for those who are listening and not watching, I came back into the room with my first paperback edition, 2006, of Percy Jackson: The Lightning Thief, and I have the first 5 books out there, so probably gonna give this a reread.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I was saying while you were gone,
not like I bought Baldur's Gate 3 or anything like that. That's just sitting there waiting for me to dive into it. I started. I've probably put like 5-6 hours into it already.
Oh, good. So you're maybe through the tutorial.
No, I'm almost through Act 1. I've almost made, or not Act 1. I've almost made it. No, I've almost made it to the. This is
what the
super tangent. So sorry for anyone. I'm almost through the Underdark.
How? Are you mainlining this?
I've got a decent party with me.
Are you mainlining this?
Not really. I've done a whole bunch of side quests and stuff too. I just got really into it.
Same, and it took me like 40 hours to finally leave the Underdark.
I went back because there was a quest line for one of the companions who I wasn't actively playing with, but wanted to complete it anyway. So I ended up circling back. But
I'm sorry, yeah. I'm shocked by this because like I legitimately love this game. It's my game of the year. And
this is the year of Mitch plays games, and
I'm doing everything. And like, yeah, genuinely, like 40 hours in, and I was just leaving the Underdark.
What are you playing?
Druid.
Bard? Druid. Mm-hmm. How is that? Because I was kind of worried it wouldn't translate as well. Oh, damn it. I was tossed between Druid and Paladin has been a hoot.
Yeah, Druid is really fun. You're getting close. In Act 2, you'll be able to get Halsin as like a playable party member.
Well, no, he's already playable in the camp.
Yeah, but like part of your party leaving the camp.
Yeah, I think he can at this point, can't he?
Now you got to clear some stuff out in Act 2 before you can, I thought.
Oh, do you? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. You also got to make sure he doesn't die, but that's a whole other thing entirely. We're not talking about Baldur's Gate.
He's not dead yet.
But no, what I was saying was I lost my first editions, which is one of those things that just hurts. So yeah. I just ordered a new box set of those first 5, and I still have my, what is the name of the second series? Oh, it's going to bug me.
I'm looking it up here. That's the Ultimate Collection.
It was like I think it's the Heroes of Olympus.
That sounds right.
Yeah, Heroes of Olympus. Because the Greek ones are Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the Heroes of Olympus, and then the Trials of Apollo. Which are all fantastic, by the way. Everyone should read all of them because they're all great. But yeah, I was getting somewhere with all of this. But yeah, basically this movie sucks. I hate this movie very, very much. And
you love the source material. This didn't do the source material proper. And our hope is that come Wednesday, you will get the proper source material.
Yeah,
it is Wednesday, right?
Yeah, Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, the source material is very important to me, so it's not surprising that I hate this movie. But pulling the source material aside, this is very much just a B young adult action movie that kind of sucks.
Like, yeah, I was playing Baldur's Gate while watching this, and I turned and was playing the game, and I turned back, and the movie was over. It's like, where'd the movie go?
Like, the Minotaur scene should be dope, right? That should be a great scene. Like, he takes the horn of the Minotaur and kills him with it. It's boring.
Yeah.
The Harpy should be cool. It's boring. The Hydra should be cool. It's a little bit cool when he's chopping off the heads, but mostly boring.
The problem is, it's such a trope in Greek mythology of, cut one head off, 2 more grow back. Like, Hercules did it so much better.
And the books do it so much cooler. Because Clarice shows up in a sunken Confederate submarine, or warship, sorry, and blows it up. Like, It's cool.
And hopefully it's cool in the Disney Plus show because it certainly
2.
was non-existent here.
The Medusa stuff isn't bad. The Medusa stuff is actually fairly faithful to the book.
Yeah, like that wasn't bad. And Uma Thurman was good.
Yeah, she's great.
She's great in almost everything.
Yeah, the whole fight in Manhattan.
Batman and Robin is the almost part of that everything.
Yeah, the whole fight in Manhattan kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Everything with
the scene with the gods at the end kind of sucks.
Like everything that that Poseidon does in this movie kind of sucks. There's just no emotion that man gives through his entire performance.
You know the movie's going to suck when you cast someone of the caliber of Sean Bean and don't kill him. Because the only good movies or properties with Sean Bean in it have him dead by the end of it. And this does not. And that's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
I say that, but the actor for Zeus in the show tragically passed away last year. So we're only going to get him in this and no subsequent seasons, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it is truly sad. But yeah, even like the one I go back to constantly is Dionysus because like Mr. D is hilarious and he's going to be played by Jason Sudeikis, or not Jason Sudeikis,
Jason Mantzoukas, baby.
And it's going to be fantastic. So much. Athena is going to be in this movie. Annabeth will actually have some character development in this movie, in this show. Because again, like the sidekick, the quote unquote sidekicks in this movie have zero character development in this movie, but have a ton in the book, and hopefully will have a ton in the show.
Also, if you read into it, I know they don't get into this context until later on in the series, but like technically Athena is Zeus's daughter, so Annabeth and Percy hooking up is like first cousins, which is weird.
They don't get
even though that's not the case because later in the thing they're like there's no DNA, which is another one of those things they have to kind of solve for of like, you know, as long as you're not dating somebody that has the same parent, it's fine? Question mark.
Yeah, that's how it
Greek
goes, and we've all just accepted it and moved on from this. This was a conversation on Tumblr in 2005.
Look, you brought me back to 2010, so we're gonna have a 2010 ass conversation, Griffin.
Fair enough. Let's hit plot real quick because it's gonna go by quickly. And
do we have to? There isn't one. The end.
There's actually kind of a plot to this. It's fairly straightforward. It's not a clever movie. So of course, folks, I want to do the rigmarole, give myself some semblance of normalcy on this god awful episode. Remember, folks, this is the point of the movie, the part of the show where we go through the plot bit by bit and spoil all of it, even though we've been spoiling the movie for the last, checks notes, 38 minutes.
The books.
If you really
Spider-Man comics at one point. Oh, that was before.
Before we were recording, but that's definitely going up on TikTok. Your dumbfoundedness to rec rap is perfect.
I didn't know what I was seeing. He had teeth. Spider-Man doesn't have teeth on the mask.
But yeah, this is where we spoil everything. If you don't want to get it spoiled, go watch it and come right back. Okay, anyways. Zeus thinks that Poseidon's kid stole his master lightning bolt. Poseidon's like, dude, he doesn't even know me. Which is a very, very good argument that should have stopped all of this. But Zeus is a petty-ass bitch. So he is declaring that if his bolt is not returned by his kid to Mount Olympus the midnight of the summer solstice, he's going to start a war between the gods. That will destroy the world. Because, again, Zeus is a petty-ass bitch. Meanwhile, Percy is struggling at school, and on a trip to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, he is attacked by a fury masquerading as his substitute English teacher, Mrs. Dodds. Is there any tact to any of this? No. She just pulls him aside for a brief second, is suddenly on top of scaffolding, turns into a fury and attacks him, screaming, "Where is it?" And then eventually is run off by Mr. Brunner and Grover, because apparently we had to have some bits and pieces of the book in this movie. Meanwhile, Brunner gives Percy his pen, which is a very powerful weapon. No, it's not. It's a pen. We don't get that line in this. He clicks the pen, It becomes a sword. They fight him off. They fight it off. Meanwhile, then Grover takes Percy back to his mom. Is like, Sally, we gotta go. They all run away off to Camp Half-Blood on Long Island, leaving by Gabe Ugliano, who is a douchebag and is unfortunately Sally's very abusive husband. I feel like even Gabe, we don't really get to see the extent of how shitty he is, which sucks. On their way to the camp, they are attacked by a Minotaur, who grabs Percy's mom and turns her into dust. Percy gets really fucking angry. Oh, this is when he finds out that the pen is a sword. Gets really angry, fights off the Minotaur, eventually killing it with its own hone. That sounds much cooler than it actually looks, I promise you. It is not interesting in any way, shape, or form.
2010 CG, and the scene took about 45 seconds. Mm-hmm. About what you'd expect.
Percy then passes out and then suddenly wakes up. We have no sense of time, but apparently he's been passed out for 3 days. He learns that, once again, realizes that Grover is in fact a satyr. It has been assigned as his protector. We meet a centaur. Turns out that Mr. Brennan is actually Chiron, which is who is a massive figure in Greek mythology and should be someone extremely important. Not in this movie.
I mean, they cast Pierce Brosnan.
Chiron, son of Kronos, the wisest of centaurs, extremely important character. Not in this movie. Percy eventually comes into his powers of hydrokinesis and healing when he fights Annabeth during the what's the word I'm looking for? Capture the Flag match. We also meet Luke, who's kind of great. He happily accepts Percy onto his team for Capture the Flag. And he gives him a helmet. That night, an apparition of Hades shows up in the campfire, telling Percy that he has abducted his mother and is willing to trade her for the lightning bolt. Chiron tells Percy to stay there, and this is too dangerous. Don't go out. But Percy, Grover, and Annabeth sneak out with a map, some flying shoes, and a shield, courtesy of Luke. They're off to go find 3 of Persephone's pearls, which will allow them to escape the underworld. Worth noting that these pairs are flying Converse, which is awesome, just because they're Converse.
Yeah, 1,000%.
When the shoes that I wear all day, every day pop up and stuff, I'm like, hell yeah. Especially when it's like some of my favorite things. So far, the main 2 have been Percy Jackson and Spider-Verse. I am thriving.
The first one, are you really thriving?
Yeah, because it shows up in the books.
Fair enough.
So yeah, Percy is officially declared a missing person by Gabe while they're out doing their thing. Also, Gabe was like saying that he was like kind of violent and shit because Gabe's a douchebag. That's another plot point that's kind of just ignored. Is that like Percy low key is kind of like seen as a terrorist after this book.
A little bit.
After he blows up the St. Louis Arch.
Yeah. Although he is treated as a fugitive in this movie for presumably abducting his mother, I think it was. Yeah, for abducting his mother, and then the housekeeper sees them with the head of Medusa. With a severed head. Yeah, it was that.
And then they never address it again.
No, because it's an hour and 45-minute movie.
Yeah.
Or however long it was.
119 minutes, 2 hours.
Too long.
Anyways, they go to Jersey because all bad things happen in New Jersey. To a garden center. Auntie M's. They fight Medusa. They decapitate her. They get the first pearl from her corpse. They go to the Parthenon in Nashville. They did the pearl off of the statue of Athena. They fight a Hydra, eventually killing it with Medusa's head. Again, you would think that's how it would be cooler than it actually was. Then they go to the Lotus Hotel and Casino in Vegas to get the third pool. They start eating the lotus flowers, though, which causes them to lose all sense of time and also not age. Eventually, Percy hears Poseidon's voice and snaps out of it. Talks to somebody who thinks that it's 1970-something or other. With a really fucking out-of-nowhere reference. Also, Kesha is playing like the entire time that they're in the...
Yeah, which I just kind of hand wave that away to like the place is magic, so it'll just play the music that people will actually recognize instead of stuff from the century or something like that. In my own head canon, but none of it's explained and none of it makes sense and none of it matters.
Anyways, they break out of there, stealing a car, driving to Hollywood, also grabbing the last pearl on the way, going to Hollywood, to the Hollywood sign itself to sneak into the underworld. They go to a portal and are faced with the ferryman himself, Chiron, not the same Chiron. Although they are both named Chiron, it's just spelled differently.
It gets very confusing when you're reading it.
When you're reading it, I think it's less confusing when you're reading it because one starts with a CH and one starts with a K. Also, I just am like a Greek mythology nerd, so...
No, I get that. I think we all get that at this point, Griffin.
If you're 45 minutes into this episode and don't understand that I'm a Greek mythology nerd, it is shocking that I'm not wearing my Percy Jackson shirt right now.
Just restart the episode.
The reason is because I wore it yesterday.
Of course it is.
I
Did you wear it yesterday expecting us to record yesterday?
Yes, I did. Okay. I will be wearing it, though, for every episode of the weekly show.
Are we doing a twofer? Or are we going to record them as two different episodes?
I think we'll just do a twofer.
Twofer? Okay.
Yeah, it's easier. Anyways, they go to hell, which again is not the fire and brimstone that it is in this movie. Hell is actually, the underworld is actually like the Greek underworld in the book. Like we see the fields of Aphrodite and what's the name of the other bit in the underworld? It's gonna bug me. I'm looking up the Greek underworld because this is annoying me. The Elysium, that's what I was thinking of. Elysium and then the Asphodel Meadows. Like we do actually like interact with those. Those are a thing here again.
Elysium, better movie than this.
Mm-hmm. Also, they almost
a good movie.
And like one of those things that's extremely important to both Greek mythology and Percy Jackson is Tartarus, which is never mentioned or referenced in this movie.
Yep.
Because one of the major plot points is that Grover almost falls into Tartarus because Luke cursed the flying shoes. Mm-hmm. Again, not in this movie. Anyways, they talk to Hades. Are like, hey, we don't have the bolt. Can you just give me my mom back? Which is a real bold strategy. While they're fighting, arguing over stuff, though, Percy throws down the shield, jarring one of the panels in it, revealing the bolt to be there. They escape with the help of Persephone, unfortunately leaving Grover behind. They go to Mount Olympus, where they're going to return the bolt. They're ambushed by Luke, who reveals he's the lightning thief. He wants to demolish Mount Olympus, so that demigods can be the new rulers of Western civilization. They fight. No. Percy throws a shit ton of water at him. Eventually, he takes the lightning bolt back to Zeus, tells them all to fuck off. He doesn't actually. That's another thing that I really wish was in this. Percy is so disrespectful to the gods. It is like hilarious how much of a brat he is, but they 100% deserve it.
Yeah, we had none of that here, unfortunately.
Like in the books, they offer him godhood. Instead, he says, "Fuck you. Tell your children they are your children."
Yeah, which is reasonable.
He essentially forces the Greek gods to provide child support, which is fantastic.
And I mean, it tracks.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, that's the fucking movie. This bullshit is over. Thank Christ. Thanks Zeus. Actually, no. Zeus doesn't do shit.
But hey, it's Sean Bean.
Who's not good. Woo. He does not do a good job in this movie.
Whoa.
Yeah, everyone. It's funny. Like these are all fantastic actors, and I really do believe that they tried with this movie.
The casting was fine. It was the script. The problem was the script.
Now let me read this wonderful piece from Wikipedia here. Rick Riordan publicly criticized the final script. He revealed email recommendations for script changes with names redacted. Regarding future support for a reboot, he said, "In the future, if some project actually gets underway, I may not be able to comment on it, but I can tell you how I'm feeling about it by what I do or don't say." And he has said a lot about this next series. This next series, mark my words, will not be this movie. It will actually be good.
I was going to say it can't be this movie because if it were this movie beat for beat, what's it called? Percy Jackson would be 31 years old, which doesn't really seem like it would fit because like Logan Lerman's in his 30s now.
Okay, I realize the joke you're making, but it is a whiff, my dude.
I tried. All right.
You really did. The other quote I want to...
It's been a long week. My eyes are barely staying open because you put me through this snoozer of a movie.
Again, I didn't want to. I wanted to skip this.
We didn't. We did it for you.
The one quote I will pull from Rick on this movie before we wrap this up is, he wrote this. These are his words. "The script as a whole is terrible. I don't simply mean that it deviates from the book, though certainly it does that to the point of being almost unrecognizable as the same story. Fans of the books will be angry and disappointed." And guess what?
Griffin, were you angry and disappointed?
Yes. I'm also angry at us for doing this.
You decided this.
I'm mad at past Griffin, okay?
You made this bed, you had to lie in it, and now you've set a precedent where we're going to have to watch the second movie before the second season. Thankfully, they stopped at 2 movies.
We're not doing that. Anyways.
Oh, we are.
Anyways, folks, that's going to be the episode. Don't watch this movie. Get hyped for the new show. Go read the books. Go read the graphic novels. Be in the Percy Jackson fandom. It's a great place to be, except for those gatekeeping motherfuckers. Mitch, if people want to keep up with our nonsense, where can people find us?
At D plus us, YouTube, Twitch. No, we're not there yet. Twitter, X, Instagram, Talks, all the places.
All the places. Check the TikTok for things. If you want to see Mitch discover a horrifying Spider-Man character, that will be up on our TikTok shortly. It was great. I loved it. Anyways, folks, next episode will be something good, hopefully. Unless it's something we haven't seen yet.
We already said what it was, didn't we?
Well, we don't know if it's what if. I don't remember how the timing works on that.
What if is... How many episodes?
I think 9.
9?
We're going to talk about what if, though. We'll talk about Treasure Planet eventually.
Yeah. It'll be one or the other next. Yeah, if it's 9 episodes, they're coming out daily. The math says I need a calendar. Sorry, continue.
Anyways, fun stuff will be coming here soon. We will see y'all in the next episode, but until then, have a magical day.
9th episode comes out on December 30th.
Oh, hell yeah.